Hello, everybody, and welcome back to reviewing every single WrestleMania main event in history. Today, we're on episode 35, reviewing WrestleMania 35, where we saw the man, Becky Lynch, take on the Queen, Charlotte Flair, and Ronda Rousey for the undisputed Women's Championship, both the SmackDown and Raw Women's titles. I am a little bit sick at the moment. My throat is very sore, and I've been having some issues going on, so give me a break if I have to cough like this a lot. Ugh. But I don't know really anything about this match. I know the finish is a bit messed up, and I know the winner, which is Becky Lynch. But I don't know anything else about it, so I'll be giving you my very raw reactions after I've seen the. Hey everybody, just got finished watching the match, and this match is really weird. Not because it's bad necessarily, but it's kind of an anomaly in where I think of it. Because it's not great, it's not bad, but it's not good either. It's in a void of some sorts where I would watch it if it was on, but at the same time, I wouldn't be happy with it. Very strange match. So there are a couple of pre-match notes here. I'll explain why it's weird in a minute. And Charlotte is shown first, but she does not enter first. She is coming down to the arena in a helicopter, and we see her chopper go down onto the roof. And there's a very awkward scene of her putting her entrance gear on, because what happens is she gets out of the helicopter, she's looking around, and since there's no like audible crowd from that distance, it's just her slowly putting her jacket on in dead silence. Like, it's if the scene was shot like this. It's just a little bit strange how it is. It's kind of reminiscent of not reminiscent, but kind of a strange prediction of the following year where everything was in dead silence. Obviously, 36 was pandemic year. It's a really weird segment. So, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts come out, and they start playing Bad Reputation, Ronda Rousey's theme song. She comes out first. She's very serious, all business, as Ronda always is, looks very angry whenever she's doing anything. Charlotte follows to woo, 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 because Flair. And Becky's last to a pretty loud ovation from the crowd. And this match is winner take all, where the woman who gains pinfall or submission first is the undisputed champion. So Charlotte is the SmackDown Women's Champion, and Ronda is the Raw Women's Champion, and Becky is just there for giggles. I don't know. And that's what the story is going into the match. Becky starts the match off, and she starts to run at Ronda and tries to hit a big strike, hits her right in the face, and then gets the hell beat out of her. Like, if my opponent is my chair, right? Becky runs at me, boom, right in the face, and I'm just boom, 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 boom. No response back. Absolutely zero. Becky gets the hell beat out of her, and Charlotte is just like, cool beans, dude. So she does come up from behind and tries to attack Rousey, but fails unsuccessfully. They go to the outside, all of them, and Becky and Charlotte unintentionally kind of team up on Ronda. Ronda repeatedly throughout this match is trying to hit the Piper's Pit, as she is kind of related to Roddy Piper in kayfabe, and uses his moves a lot, dresses Scottish. I don't actually know if she is. And Charlotte counters one of her moves, and then she kind of stumbles back into Becky, who then attacks her, and then Charlotte and Becky just kind of go like, cool. Becky and Charlotte, and only them, re-enter the ring and do the boo A spot, and the A is for Becky, but Charlotte ends up winning. Rousey realizes both women are beating one another up inside the ring and decides to capitalize by attacking both Becky and Charlotte. Both Becky and Charlotte decide Rousey's pretty dangerous and decide to team up on her. Flair tries to do a powerbomb to the outside while Becky's just kind of there for emotional support. It's supposed to be a double powerbomb. They kind of bungle it a little bit. And Becky's just kind of like, yeah, go ahead, go ahead. But Rousey catches Flair's arm into an armbar. So Becky says, since I'm not really doing anything, I'm going to bounce off the opposite ropes, deliver a baseball slide / drop kick through Flair's legs into Rousey's back, and make her take one of the worst bumps of this match. Like, imagine somebody doing a cannonball in a pool, right? And you know how they generally form, like the knee is like this, back, head. Rousey lands, if this is the back and this is the head, all on this part of her in that position. Looks really painful. Rousey's out for quite a bit after this match. I don't think it's an actual injury, but it does look pretty good. Becky then proceeds to catch a moonsault by Charlotte after they start fighting inside the ring after Rousey's gone with an armbar, but Rousey comes in, breaks things up. Flair breaks up Ronda's version of the armbar and tries a double natural selection. They don't sell it really well. If you remember the natural selection, basically one person is kneeling on the ground in like the praying position, and the other person does a senton, I guess, over them and does an RKO. And generally, this move is never able to be sold correctly. And Flair does the flip, and Becky sells it slightly better. She goes more on time. So Flair gets it in the RKO position. What's something I have head shaped? I guess I'll use this. I still have this on my desk. I don't know why. But she gets her head here. Flair does the entire rotation, lands on her back, and Becky goes at this pace. If when I stop is when she hits the ground, it's at this pace. Not bad, but Rousey more or less goes like this. It's not great. It looks pretty bad. The natural selection is not a very good move, so I'm not surprised it wasn't able to be sold correctly. However, womp womp. Charlotte throws Becky outside the ring and tries to target Rousey and starts to hit her wooing chops. She misses the first one completely, and somehow they're still selling it. Like, normally a chop obviously goes right here, but Flair just kind of goes, like, just caresses Rousey's chest, which is a really weird sentence, but it's exactly what happens. It looks really weird. They sell it like, Rousey's like, with the move, and I'm like, are you that in pain by being sexually harassed? I guess, sure. Well, if that's how it is for you, maybe you have something in your past. I don't know. Becky re-enters and breaks up a Flair Boston Crab. Charlotte and Becky brawl while Ronda recovers, and Charlotte tries some sort of top rope move. It nondescript. But Becky hops up and delivers a top rope Beck-sploder, basically a back-sploder. Ronda re-enters and puts in a double armbar on both women, but Becky and Charlotte powerbomb her 3 consecutive times until Ronda lets go. Like, Becky and Charlotte's arms are trapped in the middle. Get her up, boom, powerbomb. Ronda's not letting go. Get her up again. Ronda's like, oh, boom, powerbomb 2. Ronda's just up again, boom, powerbomb 3. Rousey finally breaks the hold and is basically knocked out. So the hits in this match, I would like to acknowledge, are either non-existent or really loud. Back to that chop from earlier. It was just kind of across the chest. And then the other shots in this match are like really boom. You can hear them. They are loud because there's a punch in this match or a chop or a slap of some sort. And it resonates throughout the arena with how loud it is. The crowd pops relatively loud for it, which is one of the few pops they have in this match. We'll get to that in a minute. So Becky throws Flair outside the ring and tries to attack Ronda, but Ronda is able to escape to disarm her. Becky, instead of thinking, if she's going to escape that move, I should probably lock in a different move or weaken that arm further so she can't do that, right? No. She drags Rousey over to the corner and locks the disarmer in the metal, bar between the turnbuckle and the corner post, which is a pretty cool move, but Flair breaks it up almost immediately with a big boot to the face. Charlotte breaks things up, as I said, and hits a Spanish fly for a 2 on Becky. This is one of the very few pops in this match because this crowd is dead because this show is very long, not amazing. There's not that many good matches on it. This one's not that good either, but we'll get to that at the end. So Charlotte hurts her right knee on this and sells it for the rest of the match. She's a little bit slower than she was at the beginning and throws Becky outside the ring, locking in a figure 4 on Ronda on the corner post. So, Ronda's stuck. She gets dragged to the post. Flair locks it in, but Becky is able to break things up. Charlotte's elbow at this point has begun to bleed. It's not that bad, not Eddie Guerrero-esque, but it's just a little dribble down her elbow. So Becky gets a table out from under the ring while they're recovering and sets it up in the middle of the ring after about 20 seconds. But by the time it's able to be set up, Charlotte attacks from behind. She puts Becky on the table, but Becky gets up while Charlotte's going to the top rope, tries a powerbomb. Ronda breaks that up and then discards the table saying it's for bitches. And she says bitch a lot in this match. She'll be attacking somebody, and a little bit later on in the match, it's her and Becky. And they're about to square up, and Ronda just goes, "Come on, bitch." And she says it so much during this match, it's honestly a little bit repetitive. Becky and Ronda tussle, but Flair hits a double spear for a 2 on both women. Charlotte resets up the table, this time in the corner of the ring. And while she's doing that, Becky tries to interfere. Boom, spear, only gets a 2. As I said, the crowd is completely dead at this point. The last pop they had was that Spanish Fly I mentioned, and it's been 5 minutes since that spot. So you'll imagine how quiet this crowd is for the spear. You can hear Charlotte she sounds like the commentator's level of volume. And the commentating is really bad for this match because they're trying to make moves that the crowd pops a total of 0 for sound really impactful. And they do, they are impactful moves. The crowd is just so dead that you can't acknowledge that they're good. Charlotte tries to spear both women through the table, but Becky and Ronda give her an arm drag and they try to put her through it. Doesn't really work. The table cracks a little bit. Like if this is the consistency before, it just kind of goes, and it doesn't even hit the middle. It hits the bottom half. It's just a small dent. Flair sells this really well though, and that's really the last we see of Flair in this match. Rousey goes for Piper's Pit, which she has been hitting a bazillion times during this match, or at least trying to hit. Basically, it's a fireman's carry position, drop back into Ryback's old finisher. I don't remember what it was called. Ryback's finisher. Becky rolls her up, though, because of the positioning. It's a fireman's carry. Roll up, crucifix pin, 1, 2, 3. Now, that would be fine if that's how you wanted to end the match. Great. But Ronda's shoulders just keep like popping up through this pin, so it doesn't really count. Like if my phone, right, is her shoulders and this is the ground, it's 1, 2, 3, and that still counts as the win. A little bit strange. I guess the ref couldn't technically see it. And the announcer also says the call different than it normally would be, because normally the call for this would be, here is your winner and new Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion, Becky Lynch. But instead of that, it is, and I quote, Becky Lynch is the winner, take all, and is both Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion. As we see Charlotte and Ronda sad while Becky's celebrating, they seem very disappointed, especially Ronda, who's just kind of like, "Ugh." Which I guess you can attribute to both kayfabe and the fact that this is a very good match. As I said at the beginning, not great. There were a lot of kind of bungled stuff, not messed up or botched. They were just, they weren't very good looking. The moves weren't as impactful. We did end up getting a much better women's WrestleMania main event down the line. We'll be reviewing that in 3 days. But otherwise, definitely not going on the top 5. Not going on the bottom 5 either, but probably veering closer to that rather than those upper echelon matches. Have you seen this match? If you haven't, I do recommend you do, just with historical value. If you agree with me or if you disagree with me, leave it down in the comments below. I love to read them comments. Make sure you have a good day, good evening, good night, good morning, good dawn, good dusk, good whatever. Make sure to watch any former or future episodes of this series, and goodbye.